Aloha, welcome to the Mr.G podcast. This is episode 44 or 45. I'm not sure, but what I am sure of is today is Sunday, July 2nd, 1950. Just kidding, it's 2023. But July 2nd, 1950 was the day my mom was born. And my mom was a great person. Today would have been her 73rd birthday. So happy birthday, Mom. Also, July 2nd is the exact midpoint of the year. So my mom in particular was born July 2nd, 1950, which is the exact midpoint, midday of the 20th century. So that's something incredible. Also, my mom had two sets of twins, me and my twin brother and our two older sisters. The odds of a woman having two sets of twins is 1 in 700,000. My mom also had schizophrenia. I don't know what the odds of a woman having two sets of twins and schizophrenia is, but I'm guessing it's pretty low. Right now, I'm coming to you from the outskirts of Chinatown here in Honolulu, Hawaii, at about 8 a.m., where it's a bright, sunny, sweaty 75 degrees Fahrenheit. And I hope everybody, wherever you're listening at, is having a wonderful July 2nd Sunday themselves. The Mr.G podcast, it's available wherever you listen to podcasts. So you can listen to it on your way to work or while you're at work, while you're cleaning the house, while you're watching the kids, whatever. I'm in the podcast club. They ain't keeping me out. Even if I got to do this thing from Sing Sing. All right. Mr. G is in the podcast club. And maybe some haters. There's a whole other group of toxic motherfuckers on YouTube who tried to paint an inaccurate picture of old Mr. G. But one thing I just like to say is actions speak louder than words. So, judge a person by what they do and not what other people say about them. You hear that? We got the YouTube live stream going. I'm not even looking at the chat. Do you know who I am? I'm Mr. fucking G, the fucking legend, you see? For the last 4 years, every single day, I've fed over 100 street cats at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. on one of the most dangerous streets in Hawaii. I've been chased by people with knives. I've been sliced by box cutters. I've had to use my pepper spray on numerous occasions. You ain't dealing with no little wonder boy from a gated community, all right? I ain't ever even seen another Caucasian person in this neighborhood, all right? Not saying that I want to. If I do, I'll be like, what the fuck you doing here? Hey, yo, we're full, all right? Hey, I got the whole vest and the thing. They know me around here, all right? I don't need anyone else coming in and fucking shit up, all right? So go back to the mainland there, Howley. Seriously, I love Hawaii. Born and raised in Texas, but I've been here for over 10 years. And Hawaii is where I'm from, not technically, but it's my home. All right. Like I said, today is July 2nd, 2023. And we're going to talk about the butterfly effect for a moment here. Now, everybody's heard about the butterfly effect. There's a famous movie with Ashton Kutcher. I'm yet to see it, but I studied the butterfly effect in college at Austin Community College and the University of Texas in Austin. And I can tell you, there's some truth behind the butterfly effect. Overall, if you're unaware, that it states it's called the butterfly effect because it states it has many different uses, but overall it's the idea that a butterfly flaps its wings in the Indian Ocean, and that creates a series of events that creates a hurricane in the Pacific Ocean. And they've proven this to be fact, that the littlest thing that you do can have magnitude effect on future consequences. But also it contradicts with I did a podcast about free will or fate, and some of the leading scientists in the world will conclude that there is no free will, that our minds are made of particles, and you can study particles and you can predict what particles will do. Just because you haven't done it yet doesn't mean that it can't be predicted. And since everything is made of particles, certain mathematical formulas can be applied to everything, including the human mind, including the human brain. So Sabine Hassenfelter on YouTube has a series of videos. She's one of the smartest people on earth. I think she has a crush on old Mr.G too. But Sabine has some great videos on free will and whether or not it exists. But as far as the butterfly effect goes, I can give you an example here on my mother's birthday. So my mom had two sets of twins, me and my twin brother and our two older sisters. I was the closest to our mom. She didn't have custody of her two sets of twins because shortly after me and my brother were born, she first developed schizophrenia. She had schizophrenia on and off throughout her life. She was prescribed hardcore medications, but she didn't like taking the medications because they totally vegged her out and slowed her down and numbed her brain. But she was a really great person. I look a lot like her. I got my good looks from her. She's very a beautiful woman, and inside and out. She used to take care of cats. If you've seen some of my recent videos about the street kittens that I found, I named one Sista and one Runt because my mom actually had three black cats, and she had one Charlie and Sista and Runt. But she also took care of many other cats. And a lot of times when I was a kid, I would find a cat or a kitten, and she would help find it homes. And she did that throughout her life. So if anybody wonders where that part of me comes from, taking care of stray cats, which I've been doing for years now, made over 3,000 videos on TikTok. That's where it comes from. It's from my mom. And she was a really great person. And like I said, I was really close to her. I would bring her flowers. Her favorite flowers were yellow flowers. Her favorite color was yellow. But despite her mental illness, she was a wonderful individual. And, I would talk to her one-on-one a lot. My siblings didn't really seem to care, especially my sisters weren't very close to her because she didn't have money. She lived in the lower middle class area. And so they hardly went to her house and didn't visit her as much as they should. But I would visit her more than any of her other kids. And I would have like tickets driving my 72 Chevy truck, this bright orange 72 Chevy. And I'd gotten like dozens of tickets. And so I had to drive through Windcrest and Live Oak and all these cities with horrible cops that would just pull you over, just write you 100 tickets for anything. And so I always had to do that to avoid getting to her house, to avoid the neighborhoods where I had unpaid tickets. But I would visit her quite often. And I remember asking her how she met my father. And my mom was from Kansas, and she received her undergraduate degree at Kansas State. Go Wildcats. But then for whatever reason, she moved to Texas, I guess, to go to graduate school. And she was a graduate student at Texas State. And my father, who would later be a professor at Texas State, was also a graduate student there. But at the time, they might have had a class together, or I don't think they had any classes together. They just went to the same university. But my father worked at a Texaco gas station right off of IH-35. And if you read my book, Gonzo Education, there's a chapter when me and my twin brother, we walked from San Antonio to Austin on the outskirts of I-35. And my parents actually met on I-35 when, like I said, my father was working at a Texaco gas station, and my mom would stop there to get gas on her way to class. And so they would make chit chat here and then when she was getting her gas. And one day she left the gas station and she saw my father hitchhiking along I-35 back to the campus. This was like in the 70s, so it was more common then. And she hesitated for a second and thought about not giving him a ride. And then she thought, oh, well, I'll just pick him up and give him a ride. And she gave him a ride. And my two parents couldn't be so different. My father, I'm not going to spend this podcast talking smack about him, but he was not a good person. He's a very cold individual, a narcissistic sociopath. And my mother, a narcissistic sociopath, unable to feel empathy and not giving a shit about his sons. I'll leave it at that. A horrible person my father was, horrible, straight up horrible. And my mother, exact opposite. My mother, very empathetic, very kind, very easy to be around, very positive, very optimistic, a very good person. All the good qualities that you see in me come directly from my mother and not my father. So they couldn't be more different than night and day. But on this particular day, When my father left the gas station, he decided to leave the gas station at exactly that time. And at exactly that time, my mom was driving the car that her parents probably bought her along I-35. And my father decided to stick his thumb out. And my mom, like I said, hesitated for a second, but then stopped the car. And this was the early 70s because my sisters were born in 75. I was born in 79. So this must have been like 72 or 73. And he got in the car, then she gave him a ride to campus. Then she just started giving him rides from the Texaco gas station to the Texas State University. And that one instant when you talk about the butterfly effect, what if my mom had not gone to class that day? What if my father had been off of work that day and they had never met? Would I exist right now? Would my twin brother exist? Would our two older twin sisters exist? Lots of things could have happened differently. What if my father didn't work at that Texaco gas station? What if my mom decided not to go to Texas State University? So there could have been many factors in play where I couldn't even, me or my twin brother or anybody couldn't even exist. And women choose the partners that they have generally, and that's a good a good thing for the gene pool. And my mom decided to have children with my father, despite probably knowing his downfalls. But he did have a PhD and was extremely educated and intelligent, also evil, but also intelligent. And thank goodness I didn't get any of that sociopathic, narcissistic asshole gene from my father. Everybody used to always say I take after my mother more than any of the four children. We had the same smile, the same dimples, the same personality, and she was a great person. I miss her dearly. And yeah, but later on in life, so that was in like maybe 72 or 73, let's say. All right, fast forward 83, 93, 2003, 30 years later, me and my twin brother in the chapter of my book, we're walking along I-35 to Austin, and we stop at that Texaco and pay for like a soda and pennies or something like that. But I remember that Texaco numerous times in my life afterwards, and it's funny how the things that come up later. That summer of 2003, our mom gives us a car, and we're living in the car off I-35. And I remember me and my twin brother stopped at that Texaco, and I had known that story, and I was trying to tell my brother the story about how our parents met, and we ended up getting in this huge fist fight at that Texaco. And I had glasses on at the time, and I remember he punches me, and I end up with a scar right here on my face because where the bottom of the lens of my glasses cut my cheek. And it was a forever scar, and it's symbolic in a way because that's where our parents met, and I ended up getting a scar that would last forever there too. Currently here, my life in Honolulu, Hawaii, I'm not going to ever probably go to that Texaco again. But knowing that's where my parents met, and knowing the different memories that I have after that at that same Texaco is humorous at least. But with that being said, I put out a message to people, just an update on my GoFundMe yesterday afternoon, less than 24 hours ago. And I was so amazed and so happy. And my neighbors are so pissed. But I received over $300 in donations just from what I saw, just from my emails. I haven't calculated it. But thank you so much to all the people that donated yesterday and last night. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to do today's podcast. So grateful for John for donation. Hendrik had an awesome donation. If you hear me, Hendrik, aloha. You're going to have a great year. And Sayanyi, Blanche, Kenya had an awesome, Kenna, Kenna, had an awesome donation. Thank you so much. Lisa with a donation. Yelvin with a donation. Janet with a donation. Nicole with a donation. And Ryan with a donation. And thank you all so much. If you guys can hear me, thank you guys. Those are all from the GoFundMe. And, of course, I accept donations on Venmo and also on Cash App, of course. But that was just all in like a matter of hours on GoFundMe. And so that really boosted my spirits a lot. I really appreciate it. Also a good way to help me is, of course, listen and share this podcast. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts, Audacity Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Mr.G Hawaii, Gregory Brandt. It might take you a minute to search for it, but it's getting higher and higher up the search results. Full episodes are uploaded in their entirety on Twitter and YouTube as well. And yeah, I really appreciate all that. A lot of times, I won't be getting the views on TikTok and YouTube. That's nothing. That's just like a bunch of like haters on there that like hide behind computer screens. But sometimes on TikTok, the same haters will go and just downvote every video, downvote every comment. So a lot of times it's really hard to get the ball going on that. But it's times like last night when I send my supporters a message, an update, and they answer right back. So that's something even the most dedicated hackers can't take away. And so thank you all for donating and everything like that. I hope everybody has a great day today. Like I said, I took a few days off for making the podcast. I did it every day for 42 out of 43 days. I did the podcast, and then I took a few days off, stressing a little bit with bills and whatnot. Shout out to my good friend, you know who you are, from the dispensary, hooking up Mr. G. Thank you all to support me, helping out all the kiddies and who, people that I don't even know about in the community that know about me and that support me and everything like that. All the cat foundations, Lucky Paws, and everybody like that. Aloha, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll have a special topic as well. We'll continue with the butterfly effect, and we'll also talk about different things going on in the world. We'll start doing a Monday newscast. I'll talk to you guys later. Shoots.